So you might have read the title of the video and are saying to yourselves, I'm not breaking any news. I'm not telling you guys anything that you didn't know already. Everyone knows that Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney isn't happening, and everyone knows that that fight isn't happening next. So why am I titling a video that, and why am I dedicating an entire video to this topic? Well, this topic, in my opinion, completely simplifies the very obvious problem with the sport of boxing and why boxing is losing a lot more support and why it is somewhat honestly struggling to keep up with the UFC. And that very obvious problem, and obviously the biggest problem that the sport of boxing faces, and has faced for quite a few years now, but I think it's gotten a little bit better, but it's still obviously the most prevalent problem in the sport. And that problem is that the fights that we want to see aren't always being made. Now, when you look at other sports, obviously UFC is the main one that I'm going to bring up, because in other sports there's a system. If you look at the NBA, the two best teams will always play each other. When you look at the NFL, the two best teams will always play each other. When you look at the NHL, the two best teams will always play each other. They have a very well done system where every team plays against every team every season, and we always get the match that we want to see the most, which is between the two best teams. Now, in the UFC, it's not as efficient, but I would say for the most part, almost every fight that the fans want to see get made, gets made. Aside from a few that slip through the cracks like Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou, usually they get what they want. And when it comes to boxing, even though it's gotten a lot better, genuinely a lot better, I mean, we're getting Beterbiev and Bivol this year. We got Crawford and Spence last year. We're getting Usyk and Fury. It still has a long way to go, and it still needs to get a lot better than it currently is. And when it comes to Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney, you look at two guys in their primes, undefeated, pretty dominant. I mean, I would say Devin, aside from the Loma fight, has been quite dominant in his career. I would say Tank, aside from the Cruz fight, has been quite dominant in his career. Pretty dominant, undefeated prime fighters, both champions in their own right. Why are they not fighting each other next? Why has this fight not been confirmed and made? It's a big problem, and it's a problem that needs to be fixed in the sport of boxing. And even though it's gotten better this year, as I mentioned, it needs to get even better than it is now. We can't settle. We can't be enjoying the fights that we're getting now and ignoring the fights that we're not getting. I understand boxing's a business. There's a lot of factors involved in making all of these fights. But this is a fight that has pretty much nothing in the way. Who is Tank going to fight next? He's not fighting Isaac Cruz. That was a fight that was supposed to happen. That was a fight that was rumored to happen for a while. But obviously Tank is not fighting Isaac Cruz next. Who is Devin Haney fighting? Sandor Martin, most likely. I mean, he'll probably fight Sandor Martin, but Sandor Martin has not been ordered. Devin Haney doesn't have to fight Sandor Martin next. It's the fight that Devin should have. It's the fight Devin should take if he can't get a Gervonta Davis fight. If he can't get a better opponent, such as maybe a Shakur Stevenson, who obviously, as we know, turned down a Devin fight, even though it was a 75-25 offer. We're not going to get into who deserved what percentage for that fight. Sandor Martin is a guy that Devin should fight if nothing else better comes up. And Tank is available, Devin is available. And even though both of them are available and there's technically nothing stopping them from fighting, Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis are not going to be fighting each other. The fight is not happening next. And I know it's not the main fight that people are thinking about. I know it's not the fight that everyone is calling for throughout the entire sport. I know there's other fights that people are looking forward to more, such as Usyk and Fury, maybe Beterbiev and Bivol. But that doesn't change the fact that it's an obvious fight that should get made. And this video has more to do with the grand scheme of the sport and the sport as a whole than just Devin and Tank. It has a lot more to do with the fans not getting the fights we want to see. As I said, it's gotten better. We're getting a lot of fights that we do want to see. But I know it may sound that I am being greedy. Some people may consider me greedy for wanting to get all the fights that we deserve. But you should be rewarding the fans of the sport. You guys would make much more money, and boxing would continue to grow as it has been because it's gotten better. Boxing would continue to grow if these fights got made, and I think because we've gotten some really good fights as of late, a lot of the fans have forgotten and have become spoiled. Actually, the opposite of spoiled. I should say they've become content. They've become comfortable. And because of that, a lot of good fights aren't going to get made because there isn't enough of a push for them. We should be pushing for Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis to fight next. There's nothing stopping them. That's the fight we all want to see. That's the fight that makes all the sense in the world to make next. The winner of that fight is truly trajecting their career. The winner of this fight truly takes their career to the next level. And it's a very high level, very competitive fight. A fight that I struggle to pick. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you guys. A fight between Devin and Tank would be very difficult for me. There's been times where I was picking Devin. There's been times where I've been picking Tank. And after Devin's last performance against Regis, where he looked tremendous, now I'm back on the fence again. Now I'm really struggling to decide who I'm favoring in that bout. They should be fighting each other. Everyone around them is taken. All the fights that were possible for Tank are pretty much gone. The Isak Cruz fight was the fight everyone was expecting, including myself. We expected the Isak Cruz rematch to be Tank's next fight, and as we all know, Isak Cruz is fighting Rolando Romero next. So, who else is there for Tank to fight? What other realistic matchups can be made? Why is Devin Haney not the fight that's being signed? I don't know why Tank and Devin haven't gotten the details set and haven't gotten the fight set up, but that's the fight that we should be seeing next. It makes all the sense in the world. Both fighters are, as I said, prime pound-for-pound level talents. Neither fighter has much in the way. And if we continue getting bigger and better fights in the sport, if we continue this pattern of last year that we're obviously continuing this year as Usyk Fury is happening, Bivol Beterbiev is happening, if we continue making these big fights that everyone wants to see, the sport of boxing will continue to grow. The fighters will make more money. The fighters will live better lives once their careers are finished, and even during their careers. The promoters, the trainers, the managers, everyone involved in the sport will become richer and more successful if these fights get made. The reason boxing has heavily slowed down in the last few years, and it's, as I said, it's picking back up. It's gotten better in the last couple of years, but that little streak from 2015, 2014 to 2019, that was rough. I would even say to 2021, maybe even 2022. I would say there was a good 6-7 years where the sport was completely struggling. None of the fights were getting made. It was terrible. A lot of fans were leaving the sport, and a lot of them were actually leaving the sport for the UFC. And it's gotten better in 2023. I expect it to continue to get better in 2024. But let's not get too comfortable. Let's not get too content. Let's continue pushing for these big fights. There's no reason for us to have a limit in how many great fights the sport of boxing produces in a year. We should continue calling for bigger and bigger fights. We should continue pressuring the fighters, pressuring the promoters, and pressuring everyone involved to get these fights done. And when it comes to Tank and Devin, let's hope that we get that matchup, because that's the one huge fight that's slipping under the radar, and I don't want it to turn into an over-marinated, oversaturated fight that loses all of its value. We've seen many times in the sport of boxing. I would say the best example in recent years was Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. That's a fight that got over-marinated, and once there was one last shot of them rolling the dice and making the Wilder-Joshua fight, Wilder loses to Joseph Parker and completely obliterates any chance of them fighting each other. Let's not let this fight over-marinate. Devin and Tank are two tremendous fighters, but they're not invincible. Anything's possible. Either of them could get upset against any opponent. Let's not risk that. Let's have them fight each other for all the marbles. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you want to see next for both fighters? Do you agree with me? Do you think boxing has gotten better in the last couple of years? I do, but are you guys content? Do you guys not care if we miss out on certain big fights if we get other good ones? If you get Bivol and Beterbiev, are you okay to sacrifice and not really care too much about Tank and Devin? Or are you like me and do you want to see all the great fights get made? Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. God bless. I'll see you guys later. Peace.